We are now on the final level of this tomb, and level 4 took me around 2 days to complete, and overall I will say that this is pretty tedious. It's a lot like level 3, but they've kind of sprinkled in a few challenges that are relatively difficult because it all just comes down to luck. I also want to apologize of how late this took me. Depression has been kind of kicking me hard lately, but at least I finally got these videos done, eh? So like what we did in level 3, we're going to be skimming over the challenges that are pretty much the same as they were in the previous challenges, and I'll detail the ones that are unique to level 4. So let's get started. We're going to start with the killer challenges, the general challenges, and then the survivor. So let's do this. Property damage. Damage a generator or destroy a dropped pallet 35 times. So this is exactly like it was in level 3, except you have to kick a gen or pallet a little bit more this time. So just do exactly like you did in level 3, play as the Wraith, chase down survivors and just watch them pull down pallets. If they don't do that, go to a gen and just watch them do it. They usually come off, you just kick the gen and you rinse and repeat. This should easily be done in 1 or 2 games. Ruthless aggression. Earn 3 malicious emblems of iridescent quality. Now this challenge I found quite annoying to complete, and this is because you have to play the killer relatively well. To achieve an iridescent emblem, you pretty much have to sacrifice all 4 survivors. If you can't, then 3 survivors and a lot of hitting will get this challenge completed for you. Do your best to kill all 4 survivors if possible. For this challenge I used Cultrophobia, Sloppy Butcher, and Nurse's Calling and Thanatophobia. This is to reduce the healing potential and gives you a little bit more of a chance to get that iridescent emblem. This can be achieved in 3 to 5 games. Buried underground. Hook 10 survivors in the basement. So we're going to use the same technique as we did in level 2, except you're just going to do it a few more times. So make sure you bring Iron Grasp and Agitation and try and find where the basement is. Once located, take the survivors there. If you can try and push them near the killer shack or wherever it is located, this will make this challenge so much easier for you. This can be achieved in 2 to 3 games. Just remember guys that this isn't individual survivors, this is just trying to hook someone in the basement. So this can potentially be done in 2 to 3 games. Battlefield Brilliance. Hit or grab 10 survivors near pallets, vaults or breakable walls while using the perk Zanshin Tactics. Now this is an extremely easy challenge. Pretty much you play exactly how you would normally play as a killer. Try and hit them when you are really close where they're about to vault a pallet or window, and you just hit them there. Make sure the perk is active and it's not on cooldown before you hit them. This is a very basic killer challenge and you shouldn't have any difficulty with this challenge. This can be done in 1 to 2 games. Ripple of Violence. Hit a survivor with your weapon while that survivor has the hemorrhage status effect 6 times while using the perk Blood Echo. Now this challenge I'm not too sure if you can be cheeky and bring Sloppy Butcher to make this challenge easier for you, but it is advised that you do bring this perk just to help contribute to this challenge. So Blood Echo is activated when a survivor is hooked and all the other injured survivors receive the hemorrhage and exhausted status effect. So to get this challenge done quickly, you will need to bring a build yet again that doesn't let survivors heal effectively. So I would suggest something like Sloppy Butcher, Blood Echo, Cultrophobia, and maybe something like Nurse's Calling. Just make sure that Blood Echo is activated, so once you've hooked someone, that perk is activated, and during that time you want to try and hit a survivor. I was able to achieve this challenge in 1 to 2 games. Knockout. Knock down 25 survivors. Knocking down survivors is pretty easy. I would suggest bringing a slug build and just start downing people. But make sure that you do want the other survivors to recover others so that you can farm for this challenge. I would bring a Nurse's Calling for this, as it will help for you to locate where they are healing the down survivor so you can do it again. I did this challenge in 2 to 3 games. Execution. Kill 12 survivors by any means. Now this could be either by sacrificing or using Moris, or even Maya's add-ons to kill off survivors. I would simply just play as Maya's, as it's a lot of fun using the Judith's Tombstone, and just see if you can go around killing survivors. I would also bring an Ivory or Ebony Mori just in case for more guaranteed kill. This can be done in 3 to 4 games. Got you. Interrupt and grab 3 survivors. Now I thought this challenge was going to be quite difficult because, as we all know, interrupting or grabbing survivors can be very difficult to do, especially when you don't usually see it happen very often. Well, grabbing survivors is actually easier than I thought. What I did for this is that I brought Myers for this challenge and I used play with your food. This is to increase the movement speed, and what you would want to do with this movement speed is instead of hitting a survivors, you wait for them to vault something. Then you get the bloodlust, you get the movement speed of play with your food, and you should be able to get to them in order to grab someone. So you want to get really close just before they vault something, and then press the attack button, and then you will instantly grab them. With this knowledge, I was able to do this challenge in one game with this method. Sprint and slash. Hit a survivor one time during a demon dash that has lasted for at least 10 seconds as the Oni. Now, demon dashing can be somewhat difficult for people who've not played as Oni very much, and I'll admit it did take me a few games to complete this challenge as I don't really play him. But what I did for this challenge is that I used surveillance and see what gens have been touched. Once I know that generator has been touched, I use the demon dash towards it and hope that I get a hit. If there are any Oni mains out there or anyone who has done this challenge and have any more advice on this challenge, then let me know down in the comments below. I'll make sure to heart it or pin it wherever, just to help out other people with this challenge. I was able to complete this challenge in 2 to 3 games. So at the end of the killer challenges, you'll be able to earn 450,000 blood points. It will take you around 15 to 26 games to complete, and it's relatively easy but has a few slightly harder challenges to complete. Moving on to the general challenges, I know we don't have to speak very long for this one. You can either do it as a survivor or killer. The first one is earn 8 emblems of iridescent quality. Now, iridescence can be difficult for certain players. You will need to dedicate on whatever you find easier, which is survivor or killer. Basically, you will just need to play the game exceptionally well. So if you play as a survivor, make sure that you dedicate yourself to at least finishing 2.5 generators. Make sure you get chased a lot, and make sure to heal other survivors. This is a lot to do in one short game, but the longer the game lasts, the more likely you're going to get this iridescent emblem. As killer, you would want to make sure to kick gens and prevent them from fixing them, but also be able to chase survivors and sacrificing them. I think that it's easier for a killer to get all 4 iridescent, but it will require you to kill all 4 survivors. This can be done in 2 to 3 games. Lastly, we have the red glyphs. You commune with 6 of them. I think you know at this point, you just play as the wraith or a killer and just go around seeing if you can find the red glyph. Nice and easy, and this will take 6 games to complete. So once you've done the general challenges, you will only be able to earn 95,000 blood points. It will only take around 8 or 9 games to complete, and it's again pretty easy to complete, apart from maybe the iridescent challenges, which can be quite annoying to get. Now lastly, we are on the survivors. We're going to be starting off with as long as it gets fixed. Finish repairing a generator or have another survivor finish repairing that generator 20 times. So with this challenge, I wanted to bring that trusted gen build again and basically focus your time fixing gens as much as possible. The best part about this challenge is that it doesn't matter if you were able to pop that gen or not, as long as you did a little bit of it and you contributed, then you will achieve a point in this challenge. I was able to complete this challenge in 5 games, but it may take you a bit longer, maybe even 6 to 7 games. Generosity, heal a total of 15 health states as survivor. So bring out your healing builds again, because you're going to be running around and making sure that those survivors are healed up if they are injured. Hopefully you get better luck than I did, because I got the plague twice. So this challenge was very annoying for me. Make sure you bring Will Make It, Body Knowledge, and if you fancy it, bring Autodidact, because it is a fun perk to bring. And make sure you have Empathy to find the people to heal. The best way of achieving this challenge is unhooking them and healing them by the hook if the killer doesn't come back. With this build, you can guarantee around 4 or 5 heals per game, and even more if you're lucky. So this should take you around 3 to 5 games to complete. High skill. Get a great result on 10 skill checks. So if you're like me and enjoy doing gens, then congratulations. This challenge is going to be a breeze for you. A great skill check is the little tiny white box that you can hit when a skill check shows up. You will need to hit that 10 times. I would suggest bringing This Is Not Happening to increase the size of the great skill check if you are having trouble. I would also bring Spine Chill, as it gives you an increased chance of skill checks to show up if the killer is looking in your direction. I was able to complete this in 2 games, but it can be done in 1 to 3 games depending on your skill. A true friend: unhook a survivor safely or take a protection hit 25 times. Just like it was in level 2 and 3, you will just bring a protection build, which is Metal of Man, Self-Care, Botany Knowledge and Borrowed Time. Look back on the previous video if you want more detail on why I use these perks, and this will take around 5 to 7 games to complete. That's rude. Point in the killer's direction within 5 seconds of the perk Premonition activating. You gotta do this 2 times. And this has to be done in 1 game as well. So with this challenge, I know that some people had issues with achieving this, and I can understand the frustration. When I did this challenge, I did do it right exactly how they wanted you to do it, but I still didn't achieve this challenge. So a few viewers have told me that with this challenge, it is important that you point exactly where the killer is when Premonition goes off. As you only have 5 seconds, it's very situational. It is also really important that the whole animation of pointing has been done before running away. So what I did was that when a killer was coming my direction, Premonition would go off, then I would point at the killer and wait for the animation to complete. Once their arms move straight down back into the idle animation, that's when you should run. You can get this challenge done easily if you know that. So you will achieve this challenge in about 1 to 3 games. It isn't too difficult, but just make sure you gotta do this 2 times. Grease Monkey: fully deplete 6 toolboxes. So this is very much like the other previous challenges with the medkits depletion. Just use Built to Last, as it counts as another depletion, and then bring Plunderers, Appraisal and Built to Last, and then drain out a brown toolbox. This means it is guaranteed to deplete 2 toolboxes per game, and with Appraisal and Plunderers you're more likely to get at least another one in the game. So this can be achieved in 2 games if you're lucky. If not, then 3 games will easily do it. Whatever it takes, stun the killer 12 times. For this challenge, I brought out as many perks that will help me stun killers. So I brought Decisive Strike, Head On, Dead Hard I think, and just for laughs, Power Struggle, which funnily enough I was actually able to use because I brought the map game offering, which had plenty of pallets where a killer has to go past to hook people. With this build, I would typically distract the killer until I was in a down state, then use Decisive Strike if it is active, then use it, and then jump into a locker and then stun them again. This means that you can stun them at least around 4 to 5 times per game if you're good at it. Not to mention, it is a lot of fun to do this challenge. This challenge can be completed in 3 to 5 games. Heroic Virtue: survive while 9 other survivors escape the trial. You must remain in the trial while they escape. So this is exactly like it was in level 3, except you gotta do 9 survivors instead of 6. Now if you have a good killer and bad survivors, you're gonna have a really bad time achieving this challenge, but you will need to do the same technique as you did in level 3, and that's to bring a dedicated gen build, and gen rush as much as you can to increase the team's survival rate. Typically 1 survivor will die, but it does mean 2 survivors will get out. As long as they get out before you do, you will earn these points. This can be done in 3 to 6 games. Now the last one is Risky Repairs. Finish repairing 2 generators while in the killer's terror radius. It must be in the terror radius when the generator is completed. Now this challenge is relatively hard and very unpredictable, and that's because you got to do it while in the killer's terror radius, and you got to make sure that other players don't finish that gen as well. There is a technique that I used for this challenge, which if you are a solo player, what I did was that I would 99 a gen and then make as much noise as possible until the killer comes to your direction. Once again, this is quite unpredictable, but it is at least guaranteed if they fall for the bait. But once you're in the terror radius, pop that gen, and then all you have to do is get 1 more done. Do this again using the same technique and you should have this challenge done. It is a lot easier if you do have survivor friends, so if you have a friend that can help you with this challenge, that would really be beneficial. This can be done in 1 to 4 games depending on how lucky you are. So finally, at the end of the survivor challenges, you'll be able to earn 435,000 blood points. I would say that it is a medium difficulty at overall because of how long it takes, and a few of the challenges do rely on other survivors, and it will take quite a bit of time, which is 24 to 44 games to complete. So that is all the challenges done in Tome 6 completed. Thank you so much for sticking by me during this time. It means so much to me. I'd like to thank everyone who's given me advice on how to do these challenges even more efficiently than I thought I would. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.